Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the Inkey Retinol eye cream, which can help you to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. This eye cream can be used on all skin types, and it's best to include it in your evening skincare routine only, since retinol in general is sensitive to sunlight. So to make sure that you're getting most out of it, just use it in the evening. Now, this retinol eye cream contains 3% of Vitalis, which according to them is a more stabilized and slow release form of retinoid, which is less likely to cause irritation. And if you would transfer the 3% of Vitalis into a retinol strength, then it would be about 0.09% of retinol, which is a pretty low percentage, and this is a percentage that you usually find in retinol eye creams, so that you can use it around your eyes without any concerns, because the skin around your eyes is more sensitive as well as much thinner. And so therefore working with a low percentage of retinol is advised when targeting fine lines and wrinkles around this part right here. Now, this brings me to a frequency guide. Since the Inkey list does advise, well, start off by using it once or twice per week for some time, and then slowly adjust the frequency over time accordingly to your skin tolerance. Which makes me wonder about the strength of this retinol eye cream, since usually when going into a specific frequency guide, it's more about when working with like higher strength or like much more like potent retinoids or retinols in general, where you would start off slowly and then adjust the frequency. However, with a retinol eye cream that contains already a lower percentage of retinol in general, this shouldn't be a big issue, and you shouldn't be able to use it daily in your evening skincare routine. However, in this specific case, since it is like a special formulation which is quite intense, I recommend following the Inkey's list guide. Otherwise, you can end up with excessive dryness, which you can balance with a moisturizer, but it can become quite uncomfortable, as well as like major irritation such as redness, stinging or burning, or like a sunburn feeling on the eye area. And so those are the signs of irritation that we are trying to avoid, or let's say reduce as much as possible. If you can feel the slightest stinging or burning on the eye contour where you have applied the retinol eye cream, give your skin a break and adjust the frequency. Use it less often until your skin is ready, so that you can use it more often, which can take some time. This won't happen within a week. This can to some extent take a few months. And then once you have figured out what your skin is able to tolerate, well, then keep on going with this frequency. And so this may be age related, this may be also related to how your skin is able to tolerate it. Some people prefer to just keep it, using it less often throughout the week, where others over time may be able to use it daily in the evening skincare routine. But one thing that I can tell you is take your time. And this now brings me to my example skincare routines, and later on I want to share with you the entire application so that you can see how you can adjust it accordingly, because you can reduce excessive dryness when playing around with the order of application with your skincare routine, as well as what product you should avoid, because then it can increase the risk of irritation. And so I want to get started with my daily evening skincare routines as well as a morning skincare routine, so that you can see an entire setup. And I have prepared those example skincare routines in PowerPoint slides, which, by the way, if you find them helpful at the end of the video, you can download them in the description box down below and go over them in your own time. This just should give you an overall understanding of the order of application, as well as what you have to keep in mind when working with it. So when it comes to the example products that I have picked, those are just purely examples. If you have different skincare products at home, you have a different skin type, always choose the skincare products that are suitable for your skin type and needs, which you can adjust. So please do not like copy everything. If you have completely different products at home, then of course replace it and use what works best for you. So I want to get started with my first evening skincare routine, which would be kind of like the usual order of application. And so we're going to get started with the first step in the evening, which is washing your face with a suitable cleanser for your skin type and needs. Now, in this specific case, since we're working with a retinol eye cream that is more likely to cause irritation, especially in the beginning. My best advice would be only use a gentle cleanser, because when washing your face, you're going to use it around the eyes as well, if your cleanser can be used around the eyes. So I recommend being careful with your cleanser. So use a gentle cleanser that's suitable for your skin type and needs. You may want to do a double cleanse if you have one stubborn sunscreen and or makeup throughout the day to make sure that everything comes properly off, but still it would count as your cleansing step. So go ahead, wash your face with your cleanser, rinse it off, pat the skin dry. Then the next step is an optional step, but it can be an hydrating and soothing toner, and or for example from the Inkey's list mainly it would be the hyaluronic acid serum, which they use as a hydrating product before anything else. So then you would either use an hydrating and soothing toner or an hydrating serum, depending on what you have at home. Go ahead and use it after your cleansing step. Then after that, again, it is an optional step. If you have other treatments at home, such as niacinamide or alpha-butane, just two examples to mention, then those would be the next step after you have washed your face, as well as using hydrating and soothing toner or serum, and then use your treatment. And then after that, you are going to use the retinol eye cream, use it on the eye contour, leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off, and then follow on with a moisturizer if you should feel the need. Now this would be kind of like the usual order of application when setting up a skincare routine. Everywhere where you can see optional, you can basically skip the step. And so when it comes to now a routine where you want to adjust it because you may experience more dryness with the retinol eye cream, or because you can feel some signs of irritation that I mentioned earlier, then you can switch the step of your retinol eye cream and the moisturizer. So you would do, as already mentioned, to use your cleanser, then a toner, hydrating serum, other treatments if you have them at home, and then use your moisturizer at first. Use it on the eye contour as well, and then after that, as your last step, layer the eye cream on top, so that you have a buffer in between and that it's less likely to cause irritation or excessive dryness. So this would be another way on how you can reduce signs of irritation if that should be the case for you. So you have two ways on how you can balance it depending on how your skin is going to respond to the retinol eye cream. So this would be one example of an evening skincare routine. When it comes to a morning skincare routine, what's important to do is basically two steps, and this is washing your face with your cleanser and then sun protection when being exposed to the sun. Especially if you are trying to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, sun protection during daytime when being exposed to the sun is important. You can of course use other skincare products in between if you have like your daily morning skincare routine, and go ahead and do so. So this would be an example of an evening as well as morning skincare routine. However, when it comes to know what you should avoid, then it's mainly about exfoliating acids. Now the reason why I do want to emphasize it, usually if you have like a gentle retinol eye cream, I would say yeah, you can use your exfoliating acids because you usually wouldn't bring them close to your eye contour, and then there's nothing to worry about. However, because that one seems to be more intense and the risk of experiencing irritation is more likely to occur, I recommend being careful with exfoliating acids. So my best advice would be avoiding them. Or what you can do is basically really specifically just use your leave-on exfoliant all over your face and neck if you usually want to apply it, but avoid the entire eye contour when planning on working with the retinol eye cream. Because if you're going to use an exfoliant, some exfoliating acids can be used on the eye contour, whereas others say specifically avoid the eye contour. But if you usually use the exfoliant on the eye contour and you're planning on using the retinol eye cream, I recommend not doing this. Do not layer your exfoliant and your retinol eye cream on top of each other, because it is more likely to cause irritation, and that's something that we are trying to reduce. Therefore, either just keep them separate completely, use one day your retinol eye cream, the other day your exfoliant, and so on, if your skin can tolerate this combination, or specifically just avoid the eye contour when working with a leave-on exfoliant. So those are that's the major conflict that I do want to emphasize, since this can cause more irritation. So please make sure that you're being careful with this combination. And so this is now what I wanted to share with you when it comes to the example routines as well as what you should avoid. And this now brings me to the application that I want to share with you. So I have a setup of an evening skincare routine. I mainly want to keep my focus on the most important steps, which is the cleansing step, retinol eye cream, moisturizer. However, of course, feel free to use other treatments in between. So we're going to get started with the first step, which is washing your face using a suitable and gentle cleanser for your skin type and needs. And I have two examples right here from the Inkey's list, and I'm going to use the Oat Cleansing Balm. This is just one example. If you have a different cleanser at home, go ahead and switch it. Just make sure to read on the back of the packaging on how you should properly use your cleanser, since the directions may change depending on the cleanser that you're using. And I'm going to wash my face above the sink. However, if you find this a bit tricky and you are preferring to wash your face in the shower, that's fine too. Just wash your face in the shower. Once you're done in the shower, you can continue with the rest of your skincare routine. In this example, I just want to keep my focus like rolling on the different skincare products. And so the first step that I'm now going to do is now wetting my face, neck and hands with lukewarm water to warm water. And then I'm going to use the cleanser onto wet skin and massage it onto the skin for about 30 seconds to a minute. So let's go ahead and do this. Then use about 1 to 2 pumps, so about a coin-size amount of your cleanser. About that much. Rub your hands together and then gently massage it all over your face and neck. If your cleanser can be used around the eyes, use it around the eyes. If it says avoid it, please avoid it. So, and once you have massaged it all over your face and neck, you now can go ahead and rinse it off again with lukewarm water to warm water. If you should have any troubles removing it properly from the skin, I recommend using a fresh and soft washcloth that you can use in between, and this can help you to remove the cleanser a bit better. So now go ahead and take a fresh towel and pat the skin dry. Now once you have pat the skin dry, you can immediately move on to the next step. There's no need to wait in between. The next step can already be the application of the Retinol eye cream if you just want to keep it very simple, and then afterwards use your moisturizer. That's completely fine, or do it the other way around. However, I now want to keep my focus on some general information when it comes to overall serums and treatments that you may want to include. And so when it comes to hydrating and soothing toners, you can include them after your cleansing step. That's completely fine. Either use it in the palm of your hand or with a cotton pad and then gently apply it all over your face and neck. Once you have applied it, leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. After that, you want to continue with other serums if you may have them at home. When it comes to the texture of the different serums that you may be using, layer from the thinnest to the thickest. So layer with the watery serums at first, and then the thicker the texture may be, that's going to be the last treatment that you're going to apply. And so overall, as a general guide, if you have a serum at home that has a very thin texture, use between 5 to 8 drops and then apply it evenly over your face and neck. Start off with 5, see how this goes, and then add a few drops more if you should feel the need. If you have a serum that has a thicker texture, use between 2 to 3 drops, or maybe like 1 drop more, and that's basically it. If the texture gets thicker, you do not need to use a lot of product because you're more like easily able to blend it all over, and you still want to make sure that you're not going to use too much of your treatments, but at the same time that your skin is able to fully absorb it. If you should have serums or overall treatments at home that has a thicker texture, like a more creamier texture or like a gel-like texture, use about a pea-size amount for your entire face and neck. And when it comes to treatments, please always read on the back of the packaging how you are going to apply it. Can you use it on the eye contour or should you avoid it? This is important to mention when working with different treatments. And there's one more point that I do want to emphasize, and this is if you should have a different retinol serum or retinol cream at home, such as for example the Inkey's List retinol treatment. So when using another retinol treatment in the same routine when using the retinol eye cream, you can go ahead and do this. If it is a serum, use it basically before applying your retinol eye cream. If you're working with a retinol cream, well then see what texture is a bit thicker, and then you may want to use the retinol cream at first and then the eye cream afterwards, or the other way around. But I do want to emphasize one more important thing. Since the Inkey's List Retinol Eye Cream is already a bit more intense and you're planning on using, for example, their retinol like treatment as well as in the same routine, again, it would be the same as I already mentioned with exfoliating acids. Only apply your retinol zone that's meant for your face or cream that's meant for your face over your face and neck, but leave out the eye contour, leave out this entire part right here, because then the next step is going to be the retinol eye cream, which you then are going to focus on the eye area. And so when working with a retinol treatment as well as retinol eye cream, you're basically going to layer them next to each other, but not on top of each other, because when layering your retinol face serum or face cream and your retinol eye cream on top of each other, it is more likely to like increase the likelihood of experiencing irritation. And so that's something that we're trying to avoid. So please do not layer them on top of each other, but basically next to each other. Or just completely skip your retinol face serum or face cream and just keep the focus on the retinol eye cream. Especially if you're being new to the retinol eye cream and you're trying to figure out how your skin is going to respond to it. And so this is now where I want to keep my main focus on. So I'm now going to apply the Inkey's List Retinol Eye Cream. It is a little tube, it has a small opening, which is good because then you're not going to use too much product, because if you're going to apply it around the eyes, you do not need to use a lot of product. Only the smallest amount is already enough. And you can use it on this part right here, like along the eyebrows. You can use it on this part right here, but please do not get it into your eyes, and please do not use it on top of your eyelid. This is too sensitive. The skin is too thin, you have a lot of movement on there, and it can easily get into your eyes. So that's what we are trying to avoid, but you can use it around it, but not getting it into your eyes. So just use the smallest amount on your fingertip. So about that much. This is how much I usually use for both eyes, because I want to make sure that when I'm blending it, that it is able to also fully absorb into the skin. And then you can either tap it around or you're going to blend it around. Whatever application method works the best for you, go ahead and do so. So, and once you have applied retinol eye cream around the eyes, then you can go ahead and give it a moment. If you still should feel the need that it needs a bit of time to absorb, then go ahead and do so. However, what I like to do is basically keep on blending the cream until I can feel that it starts to absorb into the skin, so that then after that I can immediately move on to the next step. Of course, that's personal preference, but just make sure that you're not using too much of the retinol eye cream and that the product isn't sitting on top of the skin surface, but that it can somewhat absorb into the skin and at the same time feels hydrating on the skin. And so then once you have applied the retinol eye cream, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now the next step can be an optional step, which would be your moisturizer. And so when it comes to a moisturizer, this mainly depends on your skin type. If you have an oilier skin type, you may not feel the need of using a moisturizer afterwards, and that's completely fine. You just can leave it as it is. This can be your last step. However, if you do experience dryness or you have already a drier skin type, using a moisturizer afterwards can help you to balance it so that it feels more comfortable, as well as hydrates the skin well and keeps it protected. Just make sure that you're using a moisturizer that's suitable for your skin type and needs. In this example, I'm going to use CeraVe's PM Moisturizer. However, if you have a different one, go ahead and use that one. Use a bit more than a pea size amount. If you have a drier skin type, you may want to use a bit more. If you have normal skin and you just want to lightly use it, then of course use a bit less of it and adjust the amount. So I'm now going to keep the focus on the eye contour as well, where I have applied the retinol eye cream. And at the same time, I'm going to blend the rest of the moisturizer all over. So, and once you have applied your moisturizer all over, or just specifically used it around the eyes, then you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now, this would be one example when it comes to the order of application. However, if over time you come across dryness or you come across irritation and you're trying to reduce it, another way, as already mentioned on how you can do it, is basically after you have cleansed your face, you maybe have used hydrating and soothing toner, other treatments, then move on to your moisturizer, apply it all over your face, or just keep the focus with your moisturizer around the eyes depending on your needs, and then use the Inkey's List Retinol Eye Cream on top. Use the same amount of the Retinol Eye Cream as I just have shared with you, rub it between your fingers, and then apply it on top of your moisturizer. In this case, the moisturizer acts like a buffer so that it is less likely to cause irritation, which basically means that the Retinol Eye Cream slower penetrates the skin, and therefore you can reduce the risk of experiencing irritation if you have been using the Retinol Eye Cream just on its own already immediately on top of your skin without any buffering ingredients, or let's say without any buffering other skincare products. And so this really can help to reduce the risk of irritation as well as dryness when working with a moisturizer and a Retinol Eye Cream in the same routine. And so there's one more thing that I do want to emphasize, and this is please avoid using retinol and retinol products in general when being pregnant or currently breastfeeding, and please ask your doctor for the best advice when looking into skincare products of what you can use. And this is what I wanted to share with you on how you can properly use the Inkey's List Retinol Eye Cream. I do hope that you enjoyed this guide, that you find it helpful. If you did so, please don't forget to give the thumbs up as well as share it. And if you want to know more about skincare products and how you can apply them, I have several videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to link some of them at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.